Genesis chapter 9. Covenant with Noah. God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, Be fertile and multiply and fill the earth. Dread fear of you shall come upon all the animals of the earth and all the birds of the air, upon all the creatures that move about on the ground, and all the fishes of the sea. Into your power they are delivered. Every creature that is alive shall be yours to eat. I give them all to you as I did the green plants. Only flesh with its light blood still in it you shall not eat. For your own life blood too I will demand an accounting. From every animal I will demand it, and from every man in regard to his fellow man I will demand an accounting for human life. If anyone sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God has man been made. Be fertile and multiply, abound on earth and subdue it. God said to Noah and to his sons with him, See, I am now establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you, and with every living creature that was with you, all the birds and the various tame and wild animals that were you and came out of the ark. I will establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all bodily creatures be destroyed by the waters of a flood. There shall not be another flood to devastate the earth, God added. This is the sign that I am giving for all ages to come of the covenant between me and you and every living creature with you. I set my bow in the clouds to serve as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth and the bow appears in the clouds, I will recall the covenant I have made between me and you and all the living beings, so that the water shall never again become a flood to destroy all mortal beings. As the bow appears in the clouds, I will see it and recall the everlasting covenant that I have established between God and all living beings. All mortal creatures that are on earth, God told Noah, this is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all mortal creatures that are on earth. Noah and his sons. The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from them the whole world was peopled. Now Noah, a man of the soil, was the first to plant a vineyard. When he drank some of the wine, he became drunk and lay naked inside his tent. Genesis 10. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness, and he told his two brothers outside about it. Shem and Japheth, however, took a robe, and holding it on their backs, they walked backward and covered their father's nakedness. Since their faces were turned the other way, they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah woke up from his drunkenness and learned what his young son has done to him, he said, Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves shall he be to his brothers. He also said, Blessed be to the Lord of Shem. Let Canaan be his slave. May God expand Japheth, so that he dwells among the tents of Shem. And let Canaan be his slave. Noah lived 350 years after the flood. The whole lifetime of Noah was 950 years, then he died. Chapter 10, Table of the Nations. These are the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, whom sons were born after the flood. The descendants of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The descendants of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Sugarma. The descendants of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, the Kittim, and the Rodanim. These are the descendants of Japheth and others, and from them sprang the maritime nations in their respective lands, each with its own language by their clans within their nations. The descendants of Ham: Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The descendants of Cush: Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raama, and Sabteka. The descendants of Ramaa: Sheba, and Dedan. Cush became the father of Nimrod, who was the first potentate on earth. He was a mighty hunter by the grace of the Lord. Hence the saying, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter by the grace of the Lord. The chief cities of his kingdom were Babylon, Erech, and Akkad. All of them were in the land of Shinar. From that land, he went forth as to Ashur, where he built Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, and Kala, as well as Resen, between Neveh and Kala, the latter being the principal city. Mizraim became the father of the Ludim, the Ananim, the Lehabim, the Naphtuhim, the Patrosim, the Kasluhim, and the Kaptohim, from whom the Philistines sprang. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and of Heth, also of the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Arkites, the Sinites, the Arvatites, the Samarites, and the Harmatites. Afterward, the clans of the Canaanites spread out, so that the Canaanite borders extended from Sidon all the way to Gerar, near Gaza, and all the way to Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Sibuim, near Lasha, the line from Shem to Abraham. These are the descendants of Ham, according to their clans and languages, by their lands and nations. To Shem also Japheth's oldest brother and the ancestor of all the children of Eber. Sons were all born. The descendants of Shem: Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram: Uz, Hul, Geter, and Mash. Arpachshad became the father of Shelah, and Shelah became the father of Eber. To Eber 2 sons were born. The name of the first was Peleg, for in his time the world was divided, and the name of his brother was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Almodad, Shelep, Harmazamedeth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were descendants of Joktan. Their settlements extended all the way to Shepar, the eastern hill country. The eastern hill country. These are the descendants of Shem, according to their clans and languages. By their lands and nations, these are the groupings of Noah's sons, according to their origins, and by their nations. From these, the other nations of the earth branch out after the flood. Chapter 11. The Tower of Babel. The whole world spoke the same language, using the same words while men were migrating in the east. They came upon a valley in the land of Shinar and settled there. They said to one another, "Come, let us mold bricks and harden them with fire." They used bricks for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the sky, and so make a name for ourselves. Otherwise we shall be scattered all over the earth." The Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the men had built. Then the Lord said, "If now, while they are one people, all speaking the same language, they have started to do this, nothing will later stop them from doing this, whatever they presume to do. Let us go down and there confuse their language, so that one will not understand what another says." Thus the Lord scattered them from there all over the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it's called Babel, because there the Lord confused the speech of the world. It was from that place that he scattered them all over the earth. The line from Shem to Abraham. This is the record of the descendants of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he became the father of Arpachshad, 2 years after the flood. Shem lived 500 years after the birth of Arpachshad, and he had other sons and daughters. While Arpachshad was 35 years old, he became the father of Shelah. Arpachshad lived 403 years after the birth of Selah, and he had other sons and daughters. When Shelah was 30 years old, he became the father of Eber. Shelah lived 403 years after the birth of Eber, and he had other sons and daughters. When Eber was 34 years old, he became the father of Peleg. Eber lived 430 years after the birth of Peleg, and he had other sons and daughters. When Peleg was 30 years old, he became the father of Reu. Peleg lived 209 years after the birth of Reu, and he had other sons and daughters. When Reu was 32 years old, he became the father of Serug. Reu lived 207 years after the birth of Serug, and he had other sons and daughters. When Serug was 30 years old, he became the father of Nahor. Serug lived 200 years after the birth of Nahor, and he had other sons and daughters. When Nahor was 29 years old, he became the father of Terah. Nahor lived 119 years after the birth of Terah, and he had other sons and daughters. When Terah was 70 years old, he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. 2. The patriarch Abraham. Terah. This is the record of the descendants of Terah. Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran became the father of Lot. Haran died before his father Terah in his native land in Ur of the Chaldeans. Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Sarai was barren. She had no child. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of his son Abram, and brought them out of Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. But when they reached Haran, they settled there. The lifetime of Terah was 205 years. Then Terah died in Haran. Chapter 12. Abram's call and migration. The Lord said to Abram, "Go forth from the land of your kinsfolk and from your father's house to a land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and curse those who curse you. All the communities of the earth shall find blessing in you." Abram went as the Lord directed him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abram took his wife Sarai, his brother's-in-law son Lot, all the possessions that they had accumulated, and the persons they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. When they came to the land of Canaan, Abram passed through the land as far as the sacred place at Shechem by the terebinth of More. The Canaanites were in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your descendants I will give this land." So Abram built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he moved on to the hill country east of Bethel, pitching his tent. With Bethel to the west and Ai to the east, he built an altar there to the Lord and invoked the Lord by name. Then Abram journeyed on by the stages to Dan-Negeb. Abram and Sarai in Egypt. There was famine in the land, so Abram went down to Egypt to sojourn there. Since the famine in the land was severe, when he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, "I know well how a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'She is his wife.' Then they will kill me, but let you live. Please say, therefore, that you are my sister, so that it may go well with me on your account, and my life may be spared for your sake." When Abram came to Egypt, the Egyptians saw how beautiful the woman was. And when Pharaoh's courtiers saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh. So she was taken into Pharaoh's palace. The four kings. On her account, it went very well with Abram, and he received flocks and herds, male and female slaves, male and female asses, and camels. But the Lord struck Pharaoh and his household with severe plagues because of Abram's wife Sarai. Then Pharaoh summoned Abram and said to him, "How could you do this to me? Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say she was my sister, so that I took her for my wife? Here, then, is your wife. Take her and be gone." Then Pharaoh gave men orders concerning him, and they sent him on his way with his wife and all that belonged to him. Chapter 13. Abram and Lot part. From Egypt, Abram went to the Negeb with his wife and all that belonged to him, and Lot accompanied him. Now Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. From the Negev he traveled by stages toward Bethel, to the place between Bethel and Ai where his tent had formerly stood, the site where he had first built the altar, and there he invoked the Lord by name. Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, so that the land could not support them if they stayed together. Their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together. There were quarrels between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and those of Lot's. At this time, the Canaanites of the Perizzites were occupying the land. So Abram said to Lot, "Let there be no strife between you and me, or between your herdsmen and mine, for we are kinsmen. Is not the whole land at your disposal? Please separate from me. If you prefer the left, I will go to the right. If you prefer the right, I will go to the left." Lot looked and saw how well watered the whole Jordan plain was, as far as Zoar, like the Lord's own garden, or like Egypt. This was before the Lord had destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot therefore chose himself the whole Jordan plain and set out eastward. Thus they separated from each other. Abram stayed from the land of Canaan, while Lot settled among the cities of the plain, pitching his tents near the Sodom. Now the inhabitants of Sodom were very wicked in the sins they committed against the Lord. After Lot had left, the Lord said to Abram, "Look about you, and from where you are, gaze to the north and south, east and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your descendants forever. I will make your descendants like the dust of the earth. If anyone could count the dust of the earth, your descendants too might be counted. Set forth and walk about in the land, through its length and breadth, for to you I will give it." Abram moved his tents and went on to settle near the terebinth of Mamre, which is at Hebron. There he built an altar to the Lord. Chapter 14. The Four Kings. In the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Ekroc, king of Ellasar,